Welcome to the second video about the you in identity in the series Living by Design. In this series, we're going to look at what happened from the past. Remember, the key words we had was grow, change, and spread your wings. We want to see what happened to that growing, so if there was any change, and how we spread our wings till now. I hope that in this video, at least, there will be one thing that will allow any of the viewers to change, to grow, and to spread their wings somewhere in their lives. Our core purpose is design our lives with our purpose in mind. And let's say the person we're going to look at, the person's name is Yo. Okay? Now, our lives consist of a whole lot of facets, but we're going to look at our core purpose. And to do that, we're going to try and trim whatever is peripheral and trim the purpose, whatever is on the sideline that may drain us, that may distract us, detract from our core purpose. And quite often we get involved with so many things that forget our core purpose, or we try to get everything done and we burn ourselves out. Now, when we do that, remember we're skating on thin ice. And burn and ice don't go together. We're going to fall through somewhere. Now, if this is our core purpose, right, this is your core purpose, we need to look at the best way of designing your life so that we have the purpose, can fulfill the purpose. And we have to look at, for example, the macro elements, the micro elements, and then get all that in order. And then what we're going to do is design them in, for example, step 1, right? We're going to coin our step 1, write it down, do whatever you want to do to get your structure done. Okay, there will be step 2, which may be on a different level. Step 1 and 2, maybe just the start, we clear up the area. Step 2 may be the first in, step 3 may be the first in the structure. And if you look at what we have here, I have done all this preparation, because when you construct something, we can't run around and find materials as we go along. So we have step 1 and 2, which may be the preparation, step 3, the foundation, we go on to step 4, step 5, and we see that the steps are not all of the same size. Some are small steps, and it's sometimes that small jump that we have to take, just that small step that we have to take, bridging one from to the other, that is also extremely important. And if we look at step 6 here, this looks like something very important. And there may be many more to come. And once we have these in place, we can look at, this is what serves our core purpose. There may be 7, 8, 9, and 10 for you to do it the best way you want to do it. But importantly is your structure is now full. Your core purpose is now fulfilled. This is the structure of your core purpose. I did say that we have other peripherals as well that we trimmed off. And now we have to decide in the space that's available. This is the peripherals we have cut off, okay? And we have to look at, of the peripherals, and you can see it's all recycled paper that I'm using. Our motto, work where you are with what you have, so this is all recycled paper. And what we then do is we take from our core, from the peripherals, whatever we can fit in. This is my time that's left over. I'm not going to burn out. So for here, I can put other, I can still fit this activity in, I can still fit that activity in, etc., so that we don't burn ourselves out, we don't oversubscribe ourselves, so that our life is balanced. Okay, so along this way, you're going to sit and then construct your own life. You are the architect of your own destiny, we said, and you can work at your own life in this fashion, in that way. You may even want to add another facet to your life here. You may even want to add something else. It is entirely up to you. Remember, you are the architect of your own destiny. You walk the path alone. Although there are many people around you, it is your path and your responsibility. And when you design, for example, don't paint yourself into a corner. Like I said, you have too many things, you committed here, you committed there, and then we cannot sometimes fulfill the commitments that we undertook, let alone the core purpose that we have subscribed for. Now, on our life, we have people. There's lots of, except for those things, we have lots of people, and most of all, we have family. Okay, most important are the family members we have to take care of when we design. That there's time for them. We have friends, like I have beautiful friends who assist me with this program, one holding the camera. There are core people in our lives where we have like business people, support people, doctors, etc. We have, wherever you are in your life, whether you're a student, whether you're a professional working already, we may have colleagues or we may have fellows. Okay, so these are all the people in our life, and then there are general support people. And very important about support people, this maybe even become fourth before family. Know who your go-to person is. If we get stuck somewhere sometimes we don't want to burden a family member, sometimes we don't want to have everybody know about it, there must be that go-to person. So this support person is somebody, it might be a family member, just a friend, it might be even a stranger that you've met, that you can feel that you can speak to about certain things. So that support person is very, very important in your life. And it is very important that people should know their place in your life, right? That there aren't undue expectations, that you don't put out undue expectations. Okay, now that we have constructed our path ahead, remember life happens, right? Things can go wrong. Don't be scared to stop, restructure, reposition if necessary, make changes to that plan. People can come into your life, people can leave your life, and it's important that we keep us sane, that we keep a level mind, and be able to restructure and change our plans as we go along, that we are not too rigid and decide that this is really what I wanted to do, although it could become impossible at times. We've gone through level 1 of identity, your graphics, what you like, etc. in the first video. We've gone on level 2 now, where we've actually constructed the path ahead, discovering our identity. But quite often, like I said, there are changes that happen, and I think I said in this first video, sometimes we didn't know that something might happen. Now, I have been an educator for a while, and part of being an educator is also becoming a counselor. At school, for example, we had lots of different cases. In community also, like I said, there was formal and informal counseling that I was dealing with. And I had many, many different types of counseling cases. And I felt good. Sometimes people looked at as if they were healing. People looked as, you know, we've achieved what we wanted to. Until I started watching some videos, and I think I've avoided watching this Fatima Gul that was on TV, because I don't like soapies, and everybody's watching the soapies. So I watched Fatima Gul. It is not a soapy, it's more of a documentary. And the revelations in there, I think you need like 6 boxes of tissues when you watch that. The revelations in there made me wonder whether I did justice to my clients, because this was a person, Fatima Gul, who fought her own battles. Nobody wanted to work for, or to fight for her. And what was revealed made me realize that even with all the experience that I had, that I might have missed something. So we're never too old or too experienced to grow in any field. I also watched another series called Joy Benny that says, "Hear me." And it is hear what I'm not saying. Quite often people around us, they speak in different type of languages. Sometimes the silence says a lot. And that hear me was more about saying, hear me when I'm not speaking. So it is important that we did say that we hear to help one another. We grow and we change and we spread our wings over others so that we can help one another. And in this series that says Giovanni, that says Hear Me, it was at a school where a lot of different types of abuse had happened. And again, I reflected on my career as school counselor, whether I had done justice to all the people I had in my care at the time. So, you know, growing is an ongoing process. Changing is an ongoing process. Adapting is an ongoing process. And even during making of this series, I am still growing, I am still changing, and I'm still learning a whole lot more. And most importantly, I'm learning how to use this program that we're doing the videos with. Concentrate on your purpose in life. Be kind to yourself. That is part of development. You first isn't a bad thing. Treat yourself so now and then. Remember, there's always still that child in us, and that child needs to be nurtured. Don't kill that child. For example, if you've seen, this is what I've been using for some of my crayons, for some of my posters. I love working with crayons. I remember in one of my camps, I had given out some crayons, and one of the older ladies in the camp was very upset about it, and she asked, do you think we're still children? And I reminded them that we still have a child in us, and we need to nurture that child. And in the end, that was the person or the lady came to me and thanked me because she discovered that child within herself. She felt good. And I think when we did a session on identity in the evening, the first evening of the camp, we did a session on identity where we had magazines, we had to do cutout and things like that to represent themselves over a cup of hot chocolate. And she actually wrote that this was the best part of the camp, where she had to work with those crayons and get in touch with the child in themselves. So if we nurture that child, we will understand also that when we were children, what we went through, if we are hearing children, what we required as children, and for our growth, to help others grow, we need to remember where we come from. So I love working with crayons. I love working with toys, etc., things that remind you of your childhood, pleasant things that remind you. And do not forget that wherever we come from, wherever we are going to, those little toys, those little things, and I think I remember in many of the series, or many people have this little fluffy toy or this little item, a little car or something that they've been carrying from childhood, and that is what carries them through. A part of our core identity is our date of birth, and that apparently determines whether you're an adult or you're a child. But remember, that child will always be in you. And age shouldn't be a limiting factor for anything. For example, if I am still this person in my mind, I'm still this very thin young person, age 28, and that will, I think, come to a bit later, that I was maybe some time back. But that children in me will always remain. Now, we believe that our souls were created all at the same time, that they come into a body at times determined above. And that body can be any type of body. I think we said that before people even know our names, before they know our date of birth or anything like that, they know our physical structure. That soul may have come into a person like myself. It may come into a person much taller than myself. It may come into somebody who has some physical defect. It may become into a sickly person or whatever. But the soul remains whole. As I promised, I'm going to bring some guests on, and here's our first guest. Would you introduce yourself?
Good day, I'm Ismail Booth, and I had my amputation done in January.
How did it feel when you were diagnosed with something that had to have your leg amputated?
First and foremost, I didn't take it too well, because the way the surgeons approached me, they just were very straight to the point, where they told me um, all the swelling and everything on the foot and on the leg. If I don't amputate my foot, then 3 days to a week I got chance to live. Otherwise it turns into gangrene, and that's basically like a slow death. However, I did speak to my family about it, and it was basically a decision from a couple of hours what I must make. And I can say truly it was a good decision that I made by doing the amputation, because I mean, rather the foot is off, but I'm still living.
Can you tell us how it all happened? How did it get to that point?
I'm a driving instructor by trade, and by one evening I came home and I felt my leg feel a little bit. I can see some swelling. Wasn't heavy swelling, and it had this red inflame on it. However, I went the next day to work and I told the boss, look, I want to go early home, and he granted me go early home, and I said I want to go see the doctor. I went to the first doctor, right, and he gave me antibiotics, and he told me it's swelling inside, but the antibiotic will work it out. And after a week, the swelling went down, so it was fine. And then suddenly again, it just started again. Then I went to another different doctor to get a different opinion. But then they just increased the antibiotic. First they gave me the 500 gram and end up to give me a 1,000 gram.
Can I, it's at milligrams.
Milligrams, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I got so fed up because I'm seeing doctor after doctor. The one person is telling me the one thing, other person telling me the other thing. So in the day, I just went to a normal clinic to get a different view, and they actually referred me to a hospital, which I was by they sent me to East River Hospital. So I was there like for a whole night waiting to get help. Eventually when I got help, so the surgeons told me, look here, you have to amputate your foot. There's no other way. It wasn't easy for me to make such a decision, because I felt that was almost like life-threatening. But however, with the grace of God, it turned out well, and I got full positive that it will come right. Stuff will come right again. Where I was before, I'll go again there. And what gives me motivation of moving forward is I have a son that's gonna be now 4 in October, and I look at him, then I look at myself that I need to be there for him. I need to get healthy again, be on my feet to work, because he needs his father to be there for him. So that is my motivation. One of my motivation is to go back to work because of him.
Would you mind sharing your leg, the amputation? Would you mind sharing that with us so people can see it's still very fresh?
No problem.
Wow, that looks, it looks scary. I would be extremely scared if I had to undergo something like that. So how did you cope? Immediately after the operation, how did you cope?
Well, like I'll say now again, through the grace of God, through the Almighty, I had a good support, strong structure, which I'll say thank you, big thanks for my mother and my sister. Up until today, it is still it's still fresh inside of me, but if I need anything and they are by the means of assisting me, whether it's financially or in any regard where a support structure comes from, I can just pick up the phone. And if it's in their reach or in their means, it's no problem. It's a click of a button.
So very importantly, you mean that support. And I think part of our mission here is to see how people can help one another. And family, we said, they're the core, they're the key, but they're also the support.
True. And then like you know, it's sad but true, but in today's time it's difficult to get that type of support, you know, where people sometimes regard friends as family and vice versa, which it's not supposed to be so, but it sometimes comes down to that.
That's the reality.
That's the reality, yes. um, I don't got a lot of family or friends, but the friends that I got and the family I got, they know who they are.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing I was saying is that people need to know their place in your lives. Ismail, I want to thank you so much for being part of this, for sharing your experience, because like we say, your soul comes in a body. The body is not always whole, but your soul seems to be contented, your soul seems to be intact. And part of our identity is soul. And I think we give too much attention to the outside, to the physical, and the spiritual, the soul, the heart itself sometimes become neglected when we look at people finding friends, finding soulmates, etc. We look at age, we look at physical attributes, etc. And I think a lot of cases where we have divorces is it was like I love the person for the looks, and the looks may have disappeared, and the looks may have become different. Some people stand it out, others don't. So if we look at the soul as part of our identity, and that child being part, that soul being part of you as a child, is the same soul that is part of you as an adult. And to nurture that soul, we're going to be looking at spirituality, what the soul is, where we're going to, how we can grow the soul. Although the soul is something intangible, we can grow it, we can change it, we can change how we react. So our next series of videos will be dealing with spirituality, where we deal with the inner. I thank you for getting this far in the video, and I will leave you in a beautiful place. Until next time, thank you for watching.